Hey there, welcome to another Minish Cap speedrunning guide. This video is going to be on the first dungeon of the game, Deepwood Shrine. Let's just jump straight into this. So, after you've done the intro, you will arrive in Deepwood Shrine with Ezelo greeting you with a text box. So we're going to do our standard thing here of just going through the text box quickly, so we hold B and then mash our buttons to advance text. Now, very importantly, after playing through the intro, you may have encountered some enemies. So, your health will sometimes be on full health, but a lot of the time it won't be exactly on full health. So you're going to have to be analyzing how much health you have and how much damage you're going to expect to take throughout the rest of the dungeon, and whether or not it's a good idea to grab health at this point. So it's very unlikely that you should ever get health from the very beginning of the dungeon, but there is health available here. These 4 pots in the entrance, all of them have a heart each, so you can grab health from them. But otherwise, if you're on at least 1.5 hearts, I would say at this point you don't need to grab extra health. So yeah, starting this dungeon, we're going to roll directly up. Here we're going to move to the right slightly so that we can get to this statue, push it to the left, and then roll up into the first room. Very importantly here, what we're looking for when we first enter this room is this slug. This slug, if he's moving in any direction except for up, what the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to roll to the right, and then we're going to go around and we're going to hit all of these switches counterclockwise, anti-clockwise. So we're going to start from this one, and we're going to route there to that one, to this one, and into that one like that. And we're going to roll in between all of these before opening the chest. And very quickly, I'm just going to load up my save state from the beginning of this dungeon again and show you what happens when the slug is going the other way. Yeah, so here we advance text. Roll up here, push the statue, go up to the left here. This guy's going up, so we're going to go to the left instead, and we're going to go up and hit these switches in this order, the opposite order, and opposite way round. The reason why we do that, and specifically look for that slug, is that we can always avoid what the slugs in this room if we follow that very simple visual cue, which is this bottom left slug. And then, yeah, we come up here, open this chest for a small key, and then we can roll up. Very importantly, at the end of this room, we do not want to roll up from this position into this trigger. From this point on, all of the triggers that are on the floor that we go into, if we roll into them, we get an extra delay before Ezlo's text box appears, so we want to be walking into all of these triggers from this point on. And it's going to be very important to memorize where all of these triggers are and make sure that we avoid rolling into them. But here's a trigger, we hold B and advance the text, and then we press up and then press either A or R to open the door, and then we go through the door. I'm going to do 1 roll to the right and 2 up. Very important, we only do 2 up and not 3 because there's a trigger here. Before this switch, we advance the text, grab this, pull it down. We're going to pull down until Link's head is covering up the very bottom of this this patch on the floor here. As soon as Link's touch covers that up like that, we can actually let go of R here. So we're going to let go of R like that. And this is going to extend this bridge out like this. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to pull this mushroom. Again, we're going to pull this mushroom back until we see Link's head touch where the edge of the shield is here. There's right just to the right of where the shield is. There's a little down bit of the pixels here where there's a little gap in where the pixel line is. We're going to pull Link's hat until it touches that point there. So we're going to pull back to there, and we're going to let go, and it's going to get Link across. We don't need to pull it all the way back, we're just going to pull it up to that point. And then from here we roll up, roll right once, and then we're going to roll up here through this doorway like this. And roll to the right twice, roll up, right, and then up. Here, there's a trigger here, so we want to only do one roll up these stairs, and then we're going to walk into the trigger right here. And then from this trigger, we can roll up to hit the switch. Pause a bit as we have to wait for the lighting cutscene to start. And roll down twice, roll left twice, and roll up into the barrel. Here we roll left. In this barrel, you can roll like left, up, and then left to get through the barrel. This barrel's awkward because like if you go high up, like Link slides back down. But yeah, the fastest movement is left, up, and then left here, if you can do the inputs correctly. Here, we want to watch out for these pustules, but roll to the left through and then roll down to this area here. We're going to roll to the left here, and then we're going to roll up these stairs here. And we're going to roll up here, far enough to the left that we're not hitting the, we're going to hit the corner of this statue, and it's going to push us onto this switch, but not too far left that we just roll onto this switch here. So it's kind of like a fine roll that we're going to do here, fairly precise roll up here that we're going to try and roll there. So we roll up directly onto this switch here, and then we can like roll past here, push this statue over to the left, go down and hit this switch here. And then here we roll to the right and then hop down in this spot here. Going to roll past these guys. Ideally not getting hit. Going to have to do a lot of improv there and just adapting to how they, where they are positioned as we get to this point in the room. Then we're going to enter the barrel, going to move to the right, and we're going to go to the top of the barrel to make it rotate down to the bottom. Now here's an ESLO trigger. This ESLO trigger, it doesn't actually matter if we roll into it or not, but this is a like an exception to the rule. From this point on, basically all of the ESLO triggers you do not want to roll into. Advance the text, and then exit the barrel. We do want to make sure that we rotate the barrel enough so that we have enough time to roll down and exit the barrel before it rotates back around from us going too far down. But yeah, then we roll to the left here, do screen transition, roll left, diagonal walk up there, roll to the left here, in line with here, roll up, pull. We're going to pull this back. When we pull this back, we're going to look at the sweat dripping off Link. We're going to see, we're going to wait for the second drip animation. So 1, 2, and then we're going to let go, and it's going to hop Link across this gap. I think you can probably wait for the gap, when Link's first drip animation ends, in that gap before it does the next one, you can probably let go then as well, and that also works. And then we're going to walk up a bit and roll left. Here we're going to roll up and then roll to the left. Here's another trigger. And we're going to roll to the left twice, avoiding this pot. And then from the back side of the pot, we're going to push it over. Now here we're going to have to adapt to how the enemies moved. Here the pesto is very likely going to come over and attack us whilst we're pushing this pot. So it's going to have to be some judgment on your part on when can I get another push in before the pesto comes over and I need to sword slash him. But you need to slash it twice. This slug's being awful here, so we're going to have to slash it twice to kill it. We're going to push this pot over onto the switch, walk diagonally down, and then roll down again. And then in this room, there's another trigger here, so we're going to roll to the right, but we're not going to roll down. We're going to walk down and then hit this trigger. And then we're going to walk down again, grab the statue and pull it back once. And then we're going to stand on the other side of the pillar. We're going to grab it. We're going to pull it over to the left twice so that it's on the switch. We're going to roll to the left. Walk a little bit after we've hit the statue and then press R again to grab this. We're going to pull it back once, and then we're going to open the chest and then advance the mash through the text box that appears. And then it doesn't matter which side you go, I just happen to prefer the left, but you can mix it up or whatever. You're going to grab the statue and then you're going to push it over. The reason why we grab that is because like Link had that weird I'm just going to demonstrate not grabbing the statue here. Link's going to let go of the statue and hop up as he steps on the switch, and it's a bit weird, but it's just a free way of saving a little bit of time. You grab the statue before you push it here. It only happens to work here as we're pushing it off of this stump. It's not something you have to think about later on in the run. We're going to roll up, roll right, and then roll up past this doorway. Roll up over this bridge, right, down, and then right into this doorway. Right 3 times, down once, push this this block, and I'm going to roll twice past the rock the block, and then roll right to this room. Roll right twice and then up once into this barrel. Here we're going to roll down to the bottom of this room like several times until the barrel rotates around. Actually, in this barrel room, you can you can do a precise amount of rolls here. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do a roll right and a roll up, and it will always work like that. Or you can just judge it by feel how much of the barrel has rotated, and then judge by your own feeling, like it has the barrel roll to the right position before you can then roll up and exit this area. Yeah, so then when you exit the barrel, we don't want to roll up here, we just want to walk up a little bit, roll to the right twice, and then ideally open the door before like doing an extra roll. But if you accidentally misplace link when you try and open the door, you end up just rolling into the door. But then yeah, we want to open this doorway, roll through the doorway, roll down, roll right twice, and then walk around to the top of the this mushroom. Now, there's a few different ways of doing this part, but here I like to pull this up until Link's hair, Link's hat reaches like this spot here, where it's like just touching this, just about touching the dust on the floor at this point here. And that's going to align Link up really nicely. So we're going to pull back to this point here. We're going to let go. And let's put Link like right in the middle of this here. So you can actually let go a lot earlier. And you will land somewhere up here. But I want to stop specifically on this spot here so that I can just roll to the left here like that. And it's going to, without having to do any vertical adjustment, it will just roll directly onto this switch here. After we've hit this switch here, walk to the right slightly, face down, grab this, and then pull it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull it up to about here. This is the spot that we're going to pull it up to, is that Link's hair passes the black bit on the 4th rung up. So this is like the first, on the bridge here, this is the 1st rung of the bridge, the 2nd rung, 3rd, 4th, and then past the 4th one on the 5th one, like we want to get past the 4th bit and up to this point here. So we're going to pull up to there and there, and then we let go and we just make it across like that. Then from here we roll to the right twice, roll down once, roll right into the next room. Here we walk down, roll to the right a bunch, roll up through this guy, roll to the left, hit the switch, walk to the left a bit, grab the statue, and then pull it back 3 times. Let go of the statue, we're going to roll down here. Now, again, this room is very RNG based, and it's not going to be the same every time. You have to improv on the fly here. All of these guys all like clumped together is pretty bad. If any of the slugs are right in the corner, there's not much you can do, and you have to try and kind of kill them. But if any are just like in the way, you can just roll through them. Also, another thing that just happened there that I should also point out is that one of the enemies dropped a rupee. In this game, the first time any items drop on the floor and we pick it up, we're going to get a text box. So you need to keep that in mind, that the first time you're going through the game, you can keep on checking this with the green rupees by looking at Link's rupee count in the bottom right corner. If it's always just a multiple of 5, then you've never picked up a single rupee, but because this is 26, then I can always go, oh, I must have picked up a single rupee at one point, so that text box is out the way and I don't need to think about it. Other text boxes you may need to think about are heart drops. So just in the next room, I'm going to start showing where heart drops are, because you've probably taken enough damage at this point. There aren't any health drops at earlier points in this dungeon up to this point, but from this point on, there's quite a few heart drops that you can get from this point. But yeah, this room is one where you're probably just gonna have to take a lot of damage to be able to go through this room quickly. I can demonstrate this room an extra time here with this movement. So yeah. Lots of enemy movement. I've killed some of the enemies so they're not dropping down again, but we're going to pull the statue over again. Roll to the left, probably roll through these enemies here. Roll through this guy. This guy's normally in the way in front of the statue here. And as per what I was saying before, a heart dropped, so we're going to get an Eslo, a text box that we need to mash through. And then here, we're going to push the statue over. We can grab it or not. It doesn't matter if we grab onto the statue or not. Roll up into this room. And then this is the first, like, major fight of the run. It's not really a major fight, but, like, it's more involved than the Octos that we had to kill to save Eslo. So 3 Moldozers are going to spawn. The Moldozers take 3 slashes to kill. And the ideal thing is that we want to position Link so that there is a wall, then there's the Moldozer, and then there's Link. And the Link is like sandwiching the Moldozer with the wall, so that when we sword slash the Moldozer, it doesn't fly off to somewhere else in the room, and it will just like get hit against the wall in the same place. So we can do 3 very rapid slashes and kill it straight away. But if it's not against the wall, when we sword slash it, it's going to get knocked and like fly off out of the way, and we're going to have to chase after, and it's going to be a little bit slower. But the first one is a freebie. The first Moldozer we can kill very easily. What we're going to do is we're going to roll up, and he's always going to spawn. They spawn in like a triangle pattern. One's going to spawn at the very top of the room, and then the other 2 are going to spawn in the bottom left and bottom right hand corners of the room. But the first one we're definitely going to be able to kill straight away. So we're going to pin it against the wall like so. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. RNG made him move out to the way, off to the side, but then we want to come over and kill one of these guys. I mean, you just have to adjust to how these guys move, but yeah, the aim is like pin them against into a corner or something and slash them a bunch of times. And then when the fight is over, we want to quickly try and get to the middle of the room whilst they're dying. We have a little bit of time to control Link in the room as the key drop happens. So then we want to get to the key drop as quickly as possible. Grab the key drop, and then we're going to leave this room, roll twice to the left. We're going to then roll down once, roll to the left twice, and roll up twice. And then roll up, and then hop down off of this ledge. Now, this is the first point that we have a guaranteed heart drop. Obviously, you can get RNG heart drops from enemies that you kill, but they're not reliable. But what are reliable are the hearts that we're going to get from these pots here. So in this room, this right pot has a heart always, 100% all of the time. This left one just it doesn't have anything. I don't know if it's an RNG drop, but don't even bother getting that. Just grab that if you're desperately low on health. If you're below a heart, you want to grab this heart, just to make sure that you don't die in this next room. And then here we're going to roll to the left twice, roll up, and then roll to the left twice. This Moldozer really likes to get in the way, so yeah, keep an eye on him. But normally the other one stays on the other side of the room and you don't have to deal with him. We come over here, we're going to roll to the left, and then we're going to walk to the right very slightly and then roll down twice. Then we're going to roll to the left through this puff stool as it spawns and then hit this switch here. If you do that perfectly, you can roll through this puff stool and not get hit by him. Then we're going to roll to the left, roll up twice, and then roll to the left several times, and then open this, and then go into the boss room. We're going to fight the Moldozer, the Madapillar here. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly show off this pot here has a heart, and this pot all the way down here also has a heart. You don't ever really want to come down to this pot in this way through this room, but if you're low on health, as you're rolling through here, instead of going this upper path through here, when we get to like this spot here, you can roll up once and then roll to the left, pick up this pot, throw it over here, roll up, and then like open this doorway and then go through if you're low on health and really want to grab your health. The other pot I mentioned because as we're exiting this room, you can grab that on the way out if you want to. Right, first mini boss of the game, Madapillar. We want to get to his nose as quickly as possible. That's going to be just RNG based, and then we're going to slash his tail as many times as possible. Now we're going to wait. There's a fixed timer here as he runs around the room. Slash his nose again, and then we're going to mash his tail again. Ideally, you want to do that in 2 cycles. I messed up here. I didn't slash him enough times. I'm going to slash his nose again. It's probably going to die in 1 hit. Odds of that, yeah. But ideally, you kill him in 2 cycles. If you mash too slowly and takes too long to do damage to the tail, you get 3 cycles like how I just demonstrated. And then as it's dying, we want to try and like position Link roughly in this spot here, so that he's facing it up. And then as the chest is spawning, we can mash A or R or anything to open the chest. and then we get the Gust Jar. And then this is the first menu of the game, so we're going to pause, press right, and then equip the Gust Jar on A. Now, you may think I'm a bit weird, but I don't actually play this game with the sword on the B button. I much prefer the sword on the A button, but I don't want to do an extra menu before this point in the game to switch the sword buttons over. So I play through the first part of the game with the sword on B, but here, when I do this menu, I do an additional B press to put the Gust Jar on the B and to swap the Gust Jar and the sword button around. So I've got sword on A now and Gust Jar on B. And I'm very used to having the Gust Jar on the B button, but if you don't want to do so, if you're used to having sword on B, then you can have sword on B and Gust Jar on A. It doesn't matter, it's all personal preference. There's no effective time difference in any of this. And then after that, we unpause. Now we walk to the face to the right and we pull out the Gust Jar, and we walk to the right as we're using the Gust Jar to pull out the web from the wall. And then when the web's released from the wall, then we release the Gust Jar, and then we roll to the right to exit this room. Here we can grab this heart if we want it, or if not, we just roll to the right, roll down, and then roll right a bunch of times until we're in front of this doorway, and then we roll down. Here we roll right, and then we roll down. And then in this room, we roll down. We want to... now here we want to, like... this takes a little bit of practice, but when you enter this room, you want to stop in the middle of the barrel roughly so that the barrel has enough momentum to rotate and put the web in the middle of the rotation, so it's at the bottom of the barrel. So there, I rotated the barrel a bit too much. Try it again. Here, roll down. I didn't rotate it enough to the there, so it's too far down at that point. So here we do like that. That's perfect here, and yeah, we're just using the Gust Jar to pull out the web. And as we're like sucking up the web with the Gust Jar, when the web's gone into the Gust Jar, we can then press left and then fall down here without having to release the Gust Jar. Now that we've fallen through the barrel, we want to face to the left and pull out the Gust Jar. We're going to walk to this spot here, and then we're going to walk to the left. There's an ESLO trigger here. We're going to actually make use of this ESLO trigger to cancel the Gust Jar use. So we've pulled the Lilypad over. We were standing with the Gust Jar, the end of the Gust Jar was in line with the water edge. And then as the Lilypad got close enough, we walked to the left more whilst still holding onto the Gust Jar to trigger the ESLO trigger. And that's put away the Gust Jar. And now we managed to get through the ESLO text box. And then after the ESLO text box, we walked to the left to stand on the Lilypad that's pulled over to here. And we didn't get the... Like, after you finish using the Gust Jar, Link gets propelled back. And we just saved that little extra bit of time here. So yeah, we've walked onto the Lilypad. We face to the right. We use one Gust Jar once, then we face up, and then we use the Gust Jar twice to fall off of the waterfall. Now here we face to the left, and we want to count the number of Gust Jar uses from this point. We want to count, it doesn't matter too much, it's anywhere between 6 and 8. So I'm going to say 7. Do 7 here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we do 3 up. This guy's going to be in the way, and there's not much you're going to have you can do about this guy. It's based on RNG whether or not that guy's going to be in the way, and you just have to deal with it. Sometimes you want to double sword slash him to kill him, or sometimes he's just out of the way and it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, after all of the movements to the side, we've done 3 up. And then we want to do a bunch to the left to try and screen transition. Now, when we do the screen transition, we want to be as low as possible when we do the screen transition, which comes down to how quickly you can mash the Gust Jar. From this position here, you look at like the how high the Lilypad is in comparison to this block. I'm too high here. I didn't transition low enough, so then when I try and move to the right here, I'm gonna just hit this block and it's not gonna move at all. So if from this position I want to do 1 Gust Jar up so that it goes down, and then I can go 2 to the left, probably kill that guy and then go up. I'm going very slowly here, but it's all much... it makes much more sense when you're doing this at full speed. So yeah, like this. This is a much better position here, so I can just I can just do the Gust Jar here, and I'm going to slide around this block like this. And then we're going to go up here so that we can get onto this staircase here. Then we're going to roll up the staircase, roll to the left, grab this pot, throw it. This pot has a random drop. It can drop rupees, or it can just drop nothing. But just be aware that something may drop from this pot, and if something drops from it, it may trigger your first text box. So that's something you're gonna have to think about. But we throw this pot so we can stand here, push this pot over to the right. Once it's on the switch, then we come back onto the lily pad. From the lily pad, we do 1 down, 3 to the right, and then a bunch up until we do this screen transition. Note, we want to be as far to the right as possible. We really want to be sliding against this this wall here when we do the screen transition. We don't want to be somewhere over to the left here. We want to be like all the way on the right hand side. It's going to make the next room much easier. So from here, this movement in this room, what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 up, and then we're going to do 3 to the left and then 3 up like so. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the lily pad slides perfectly into this spot here, exactly like that. Now, this pesto may get in the way and hit you as you're doing your last couple Gust Jar uses, and it may be it can be annoying, knock you off the lily pad, and then when you respawn back on the lily pad, it kills the lily pad's momentum, and it's quite annoying. But quite a few of the times you'll be able to avoid the pesto, but I'll just demonstrate this again here. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you can like walk up and like up walk diagonally up to this pot here. I'm going to push this pot to the left here onto the switch to activate the chest. Roll down and walk around and then open the chest. Then we're going to roll to the right, walk up a bit onto the lily pad, and then here, this movement, we're going to do 2 puffs in each direction. Here we're going to do 2 puffs to the left, 2 up, 2 to the left, 2 up, like so. I'm just going to alternate those. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're out of this room. And then from here, we're going to do 4 down. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the right, and then we're going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then do 1 down. I'm going to try and get as low as possible. So you want to be as low as possible, but the position I initially went across there was happened to be fine. But yeah, we transition over to the side here. Then we're going to do 2 up, 2 to the and then just a bunch to the right actually. So it's 1, 2, and then we just go to the right. Or gust to the right, but move to the left. I may accidentally switch around what directions I'm saying, but just go by what is visually happening. It's difficult to say, like, go to the right. It's like, what do you mean, Gust Jar to the right, or move the lily pad to the right, to the left? So things can alternate differently like that. But yeah, we just keep gusting over to this spot here. And that's all of the lily pad movement out of the way. And then as we get off the lily pad, we can do one to roll to the left and then walk up to open this doorway here. And then we're going to roll up through this doorway. In this room, we're going to pull out the Gust Jar. We can't pull out the Gust Jar when we're inside of this doorway. We can only pull out the Gust Jar when we've exited the doorway and are on regular ground again. So as we're coming through this room, we have to wait until Link's like walked here, and then we can pull out the Gust Jar. We're going to stand the visual cue we're looking for here. If we look at Link's feet, we can see the back of his boots. We're going to line up his boots with the bottom of the water here. We don't want to see any water like that. We want to be a bit lower down. So we want to be about there, maybe a bit lower than that. But here, we want to see the visual effect of the water. We don't want to be so low that we're not seeing the visual effect of Link being in the shallow water. We want Link to be in the shallow water. That's also a little bit low. We want to be a little bit higher. That's about as high as you want to go. But yeah, so we're going to demonstrate that here. So we're going to pull out here, stand about there. I'm going to make our hop over this first gap here. And then we're going to face to the right, we're going to pull out the Gust Jar again, and we're going to walk, and then we're going to align Link's boots up with the bottom right corner of the of this. Get out of the way. And get back over here. So we're going to line Link's boots up so that he's should probably equip the shield here. Don't actually equip the shield here. I just want to be able to show the alignment here. This is very awkward. Yeah, so Link kind of wants to align. Actually, I'll just do frame advance here to demo this. So we want to get Link to roughly here. That's too far. But roughly here, it doesn't matter too much. And then it's the same visual alignment that we're also going to do here, but we're basically just looking at Link's boots here. We're gonna walk him so that Link's boots are like overlapping the bottom right-hand corner of the ground that's available there. And then from here, we're going to roll down once. We're going to face to the left, and we're going to pull out the Gust Jar. We're going to align the edge of the Gust Jar with the edge of the water here. So I'm demonstrating it like this. So we're going to pull out the Gust Jar so it's roughly in this spot here. This is like really pushing it from this spot here. Maybe you want to pull it back a little bit so it's like this or like here, but that's generally fine, and we're going to make it across. And as you see, like, we're landing like really on the edge here, but we walk to the left a little bit and then walk and then face up and then open the chest, mash the text box. Make sure to not mash too long so that we roll or do something stupid like that. But then from after opening the chest, we do really want to try and like really touch this like corner of this chest. We don't want to have to walk all the way to the middle. There's tiny little movements save time. So then from here we roll down, roll right twice, and then walk to the right and stand over the red warp as it spawns in. And then here's the last spot that we can grab. Well, it's not the last spot that we can grab health. Here's another spot that we can grab health. I really don't ever recommend grabbing health from this spot here, unless you're literally on 1/4 heart and are going to die to the first hit of the boss. Then you can grab a heart from one of these pots, but if you're not on 1/4, you shouldn't grab the health here. We can actually grab health while inside of the boss, and it doesn't lose us time grabbing health inside of the boss because we can time it so that we do it whilst in the downtime of the boss fight, and we have to wait for the boss anyway. But yeah, after we get off of this this red warp, we roll to the right, face up, use the Gust Jar to pull the web, and then when the web's pulled out, we let go of the Gust Jar. We don't want to be like right against the web, because if we're too high up, the Gust Jar won't actually be sucking on the web properly. So we want to, like, when we pull out the Gust Jar, we walk down a little bit, pull out until the web gets pulled out, let go, and then hold up to walk up the stairs. We'll walk diagonally down to the side here, roughly to this spot here, and we pull out the Gust Jar, and we can walk as far to the left as we can kind of go without falling off the ledge to make it across this gap. We roll down and roll right, and we face up. And then here's another visual cue that we want to use. So we pull out the Gust Jar. We want to line the tip of the Gust Jar with the water line. It's what we're aiming for here. So it's going to be this is good enough. So we just wait here to get launched across the gap here. As we're going across the gap, we hold up, and then as soon as we're going to be looking at the R button here. The R button is going to change from the roll text, which is this. This is roll in Japanese. It's going to change to that instead. And so you don't need to read Japanese, but you can notice when the text changes, and the text change is going to be the important thing to notice. So it's going to start as roll, and it's going to change to this other thing, which is open. So as soon as it changes, then you can press the button to change. So it's like that, very quickly. Notice the text change, and then press either A or R to trigger opening the doorway, and you can open the big door from actually pretty far back. And then we got a big long cutscene here where you can hands off. You don't need to do anything here. No text that you have to mash or anything. And then the green shoe fight's going to start. Now, as I mentioned before, all of these pots have hearts, so if you're on low health, you can grab the hearts. Don't grab them right away, because the first thing we want to do as soon as the boss starts is we're going to pull out the Gust Jar. I'm going to try and maximize the amount of Gust we're going to be able to pull from the Gust Jar, from the boss here. Now, I'm going to pull up some more RAM data values here to make things more understandable. I'm going to get rid of the RNG because it doesn't matter, and then pretty much don't need anything else here. The only thing that's important is the Chu suck value. So every time you, like, as you're using the Gust Jar on the Chu boss, you're gonna hear this effect of like it getting hit like very rapidly as we're using the Gust Jar on it. Each one of the little bits of sound effect is indicating one bit of suck damage being dealt to the boss, and we want to. It starts at 0 and it counts up. We want to count up to 48. When it hits 48, it's going to have done enough damage to the boss that is going to trigger the wobbling stage of the boss. So we're going to do that here, and if you keep an eye on the Chu suck value, you'll see how it starts counting up. So pull out the Gust Jar quickly here, and then let go as it comes close, and we roll up past the boss. When we roll up past the boss face down and pull out the Gust Jar again, the boss will ideally be at the very bottom of the room, and then when we use the Gust Jar and pull it up here, as you see, the Chu suck value has been adding up as we've been using the Gust Jar on the boss. And it's 47 here, and there's the last one as we pull, like, wait a little bit longer, hits 48, and bam, it's gonna explode into its wobble stage. Now, very importantly, as soon as it hits into its wobble stage, what the boss is going to do is it's going to wobble from whatever position it is in the room until it's vertically in line with the middle of the room. So it's a little bit to the left of the room, which meant that it wobbled to the right to move to the middle of the room. And as it wobbled to the right, that's the thing that we need to pay attention to. That is wobbling into the direction to the right. We want a position link to be on that side that it first wobbled towards. So that this is to minimize the total number of wobbles that the boss is going to do. So the boss is now going to wobble. It's wobbled to the right. It's going to wobble back, and it's going to wobble again to the right and drop on that last wobble. So so that's why we're counting it as 3. So it's 1 in the first direction that it starts, back again, back to the opposite direction, and then the final wobble is in the direction that it first went. If we don't stand on that on the right side, it will have to wobble a 4th time, which is just extra time loss. So you don't want to you want to just keep an eye on where the boss first wobbles. And here we do have a little bit of time, so we can actually grab this pot and throw and grab the health if we need. And now when the boss drops down, we want to start dealing damage. Now, the boss stays down for a fixed period of time, one of 4 different periods of time, and it randomly chooses one of these 4 values. Now, the easiest way to determine what the amount of time that it's spent on the ground is that you mash your sword as soon as it lands, and you count the number of sword slashes you get in. Now, you don't actually need to maximize the number of sword slashes you get in. This boss in total is going to be 3 cycles long. In the first cycle, you need to hit it at least 4 times to progress it to the next cycle. In the second cycle, you need to hit it 5 times, and then in the last cycle, you always hit it exactly 4 times, and then it just ends the fight and the boss dies. So it's 4, 5, 4. That's the important values that you need to remember. Now, the total number of slashes that you can get in the time slots allocated in those 4 different times that it can stay down on the ground. The shortest period of time lasts a period of 5 slashes, which you can tell in the middle means that you have no time to miss not slashing this boss in the middle cycle. If the RNG is nice and it gives you the quickest amount of time that it's going to spend down on the ground. So it's a mixed blessing that you get the good RNG that it stays on the ground as the minimum amount of time, so you're not wasting time waiting for it to get up again. But also, you can't make a mistake, otherwise you'll get an entire extra cycle that you have to deal damage to the boss. So yeah, the minimum amount of time it's going to spend down underground, it's going to last a period of 5 slashes. The next fastest is going to be 6 slashes in length. The next is going to be 7 slashes in length. And then the longest is 9 slashes in length. So there's 3 that are relatively the same length, and then there's one outlier which happens to be extra long, which is particularly bad RNG to get. So as you're fighting the boss, you can just count how many slashes you've done to him. So I think we've done 1 here, and we're going to count. So it's 1. Oh, I completely goofed that up. Let me start this boss again to show this again. Right. So we pull out the Gust Jar. Roll past him, use the Gust Jar again as he walks up here. He's going to wobble to the right, wobble to the left, wobble to the right, and as he drops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was a minimum here. Right, so then after he gets up, he's going to start like preparing to jump again. We can pull out the Gust Jar and then like hold it over his base as he's preparing to jump, and we're gonna get a little bit of damage in, a little bit of gust damage in whilst it does its first jump here. See, we managed to get up to 11, which is like a quarter of the thing required. So it's actually like really important that you, as he's getting ready, have the Gust Jar held there so that you can get some damage in before he does his first jump. This is the middle cycle, the second cycle. And what he's going to do, he's always going to just do 1 jump, and we position ourselves here so that he jumps once down to the bottom of the room. And we're going to turn around and use the Gust Jar and walk directly up to the top of the room. We really do not want to go to the far sides of the boss room, because the Chu is going to be chasing after us the entire boss fight. And if we drag him off to the sides of the room, when we've done enough suck damage to get him into the wobble state, he's going to have to wobble to the middle of the room. And that's wasted time where he wobbles very slowly over to the middle of the room. So we want to keep it in the mid, as close to the middle of the room as possible to minimize the amount of time it spends wobbling. Yeah, so we've, like, when it's in the middle of the jump, we can let go of the Gust Jar. And then we're going to face down and then pull out the Gust Jar again. We're going to walk up, and then it's going to trigger its thing. It wobbled to the right first, wobbled to the left, wobbled to the right again. Mash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that was 6. And then, again, we're going to pull out the Gust Jar here. I'm going to hold the Gust Jar as it does its first jump. Now, this final cycle is going to be... It's not technically RNG, but it's effectively luck that's going to determine. It's going to do one of 2 things. It's either going to do 1 jump and then chase after us. That's the best luck that we're going to get on this. I don't want to call it RNG because what the boss does here is not determined by the RNG value, but it happens to be the exact frame that you're at this point in the fight, which is effectively random. So this is semantics. Call it RNG. It's fair. You can call it RNG if you want, but it's not technically RNG. It's just really pedantic. It's actually the frame count that it looks at here. But it does one of 2 things. It either jumps once and then chases after us. That's the best RNG. Or it will do 5 jumps in a row before then chasing after us. Now, it shouldn't actually do the full 5 jumps because of the strategy we take. We should actually deal enough suck damage to get it to wobble either on its 3rd or its 4th jump. So it should never get to its 5th jump. You've made a mistake if it's if it gets to its 5th jump. But yeah, here, so we're gonna just see what kind of luck we're gonna get here. So we're gonna use the Gust Jar as it does its first jump. And then we're going to use our Gust Jar down to the bottom. Here it's doing, it's going to be doing 5 jumps here. As soon as it does an extra jump, you immediately know, okay, it's not the 1 jump best RNG. It's going to be doing multiple jumps here. And now we're just alternating every time it does a jump. we let go of the Gust Jar, change our direction, and use the Gust Jar in the next direction. So here we want to use the Gust Jar to the top, then to the bottom, and then to the top. And okay, so there when I used the Gust Jar, I was a little bit too slow so that it finished its third jump, and then I did enough suck damage to get it into its wobble state. But I was slightly too slow in that it already started its fourth jump animation, so it finished the fourth jump animation even though I just did enough damage at the end of the third jump. So if you're like a couple frames faster, it would have started wobbling before it did its fourth jump, and it can save a little bit of time there. But it's very precise and a lot of effort to practice that boss to be able to consistently get a 3 jump there. So you shouldn't be too upset about getting 4 jumps. It's effectively luck again if you get a 1 jump or not. So yeah, it wobbled to the right, then to the left, and back to the right, and then we'd do 4 hits, and then it's the end of the fight. And then after we've done the 4 hits to it, what we want to do is we want to position Link as close to the position that it's going to move to during this cutscene as possible, so that Link doesn't spend a long time walking. And you'll notice this at the end of quite a few boss fights. Well, actually, no, it's just Octo after this. But you want to use the dead time of the boss dying that you don't need to do much, but you want to position Link so that it's the minimum amount of time wastage moving around during the cutscene as possible. So I'm a little bit off here, but I'm close-ish enough, so Link's going to walk a little bit to this spot here. And you can either memorize where Link is standing like this. I like to look at the bottom of Link's shadow and see where it lines up pixel-wise with the pattern on the ground here, roughly aligning like this. You can obviously come up with any visual cue you want, be it Link's hair, is hands, or anything like this. But yeah, Deepwood done. You get the Earth element. See what time you got for the Earth element. See if you can manage to improve your Deepwood at all. Then after this, there's going to be a text box which we exit out of. Walk up as the heart container spawns. Grab the heart container. We really don't want to be skipping heart containers. Health's going to be super important later on in the run, and just to be as safe as possible, grab the the heart container. And then the very last thing before leaving the dungeon, like after we grab the heart container, just roll down into the green warp. And then we've exited the dungeon, and that is the first dungeon done. That's all of the info you should need to be able to do the speedrun as quickly as possible. You can spend a lot of time super optimizing your movement. You're never going to be saving more than at most like 30 seconds by improving your time through Deepwood. But yeah, that is everything from me. I can't believe I talked about the first dungeon for 50 minutes, but yeah, that's this game. You can go into a ton of detail about like every single tiny minute aspect of this game. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and in the next video we are going to be doing all of the movement up to the next dungeon. But yeah, thank you for watching, and see you later.